Welcome to the final week of our midweek Bible study centered on the book Get Your Life Back by John Eldredge. This week we'll be focusing on the idea of the simple daily things. Have you ever seen any of the online photos where it talks about the idea of expectation versus reality? The expectation is usually something great. It's what we build up in our mind or what we wish would be. And the reality a lot of times is something embarrassing or maybe just something much more honest. To help you understand this concept, in case you don't know, I've got some photo examples here that we'll go through quickly. Here's an example of I don't know why you would ever do this, but a dog poodle cake made of cupcakes, expectation versus reality. This is probably more what it would look like if we tried to do it. Or here's an advertisement of a burger. It looks very delicious. When you order it from the fast food restaurant, it probably looks something more like this. Maybe a travel expectation. This is something that I've experienced where you see these beautiful photos of a place like the Great Wall of China. When you visit it, it's actually the most crowded place where you can't even enjoy the beauty. That's what it's more like in reality. And then here's one I've actually seen with my own eyes. This is the Mona Lisa. It's amazing. It's this really cool, very old, very historically rich artifact. And when you see photos of it, it looks like it's this big painting. When you actually are there in the Louvre, which I went on my honeymoon with my wife, it's a little painting. It's in a room all by itself. And people are so crowded around it that it's very hard to get a clear image of the Mona Lisa. When we think about our lives as we live them, in kind of a duplicitous way, and we live part of our life in person, we live part of our lives online, sometimes the expectation versus reality idea holds true. A lot of times when people are posting something, what they're posting is the highlight of their day or their week. It's filtered, it's curated, it looks amazing, and then we compare that to our lives, what we know about ourselves. We compare the extravagance that we see online with what we know to be true about the ordinary and mundane things that we're living and experiencing. And it may be easy to start to think that maybe our lives aren't as good or don't compare or don't have what other people's lives might have. The amazing news that John Eldredge is going to bring to us this week and when we watch the video is that life with God is not usually found in extravagant things, but in simple daily things. That God is often not the God of the big extravagant show, but God is found in the daily details of life. In 1 Kings chapter 19, this is a story that you probably know. Elijah goes out to watch the presence of God pass by. And God wasn't in the extraordinary events of that moment. There was a shattering wind that broke the rock. There was an earthquake. There was an all-consuming fire. I mean, those are pretty extraordinary events. But God wasn't in any of those things. What he was in was the small, gentle whisper. Simple, ordinary. This is where God dwells, and this is where God meets his people, in the everyday and the ordinary. In lives that are such a fast pace that we all live, we're always trying to do more and get more and be more. Instead, maybe we should try slowing down and looking for God in the everyday. Maybe it's the laugh of a child. Maybe it's coffee with friends. Maybe it's just a moment by yourself of quiet to breathe and just be there. Maybe it's an evening walk. John's going to highlight Philippians chapter 4, verse 9 in our video, but let's look at it together before we watch. It says, "Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you." Everything that we've spent time reflecting on over the last 6 weeks, let's keep putting that into practice. The simple things, the important things. Stop chasing expectations that won't satisfy, and instead learn to be content with what God is giving us in the current moment. Let's watch the video and see what else John has to say.
Sometimes it's just the really simple stuff that helps us get out of the chaos and get our souls back and find God again. Welcome back, friends, to our final session together. And we're going to begin by practicing the pause, and we're going to use it for benevolent detachment. I just give everyone and everything to you, and we're going to use it for healing our union. Okay? So here we go. Jesus, I give everyone and everything to you. I give everyone and everything to you. What do I need to release, Lord? And Jesus, I pray that you would restore our union. Restore our union. Heal our union, Lord. So we've been on this journey together to get our lives back and get out of the madness and find the life of God in us again and just be able to breathe and drink more deeply from all that he is bringing us. So I want to describe a piece of the madness that is affecting us in ways I don't know that we've noticed. So it started with an email the other day I got in one of those YouTube videos that somebody was sending to me. And, yes, it was outrageous. And yes, it got my attention because it was crazy. Okay, this is the stuff in our inbox. And what it was a beautifully done, amazing video of a guy riding a motorcycle on a wave in the ocean. No kidding. This, some amazing dirt bike rider had figured out how to put floats on his dirt bike, and he was also a surfer, and he wanted to bring his joys together. And so he literally surfed a wave in Tahiti on a motorcycle. Okay. So, yep, it was impressive, and yep, it got my attention. I dropped everything I was doing, and this is the problem, all right? The fantastic, the outrageous, the stuff that's just so wild, it grabs us. And man, this is in our daily feed, and it is giving us the wrong impression. And the impression is this, that if you're really living, if you are living life and filled with soul and, over the top joy and excitement, your life looks like that, right? You're out there just doing fantastic things. And it's not true. And that's really good news. Because friends, life is in the dailies. It really is. Back in my day, an older guy, to propose to a girl, yeah, you took her out to dinner, maybe, or you went to the beach for sunset, or you took a walk together and you got down on your knee and asked her to marry you. And nowadays, that is considered so lame. Like, no way, you've got to, take her skydiving and ask her while you're falling from 30,000 feet, or you're, kayaking over a waterfall together. And that's your proposal moment. And there's always somebody there to video it, right? And make a film of it. And it is crazy, folks. This is not real life. It's just not true. Life is not lived in the fantastic. God is waiting for us in the dailies, okay? Think about marriage and friendship for a moment. They're not built on the fantastic. Now, yes, Stacy and I love to travel, and we got to go to Hawaii for our 35th. But honestly, marriage and friendship are built in the really small things. It's going out for coffee together. It's doing the dishes in the evening. It's how was your day, right? It's taking walks, and it's reading to one another, or just sitting in the same room while you're both reading something else. This is really, really good news, because this culture of ours keeps pressuring us to be amazing and be fantastic and be over the top. And it's actually really hard on the soul. If you want your soul back, if you want your life back, if you want more of God, the good news is you're going to find it in the dailies, okay? And your soul will let you know. Your soul will let you know how you're doing. I do take a daily walk, and it is really important for me. I love it. It's either in the morning or in the evening. And I keep running into the same guy in our neighborhood. He's a dog walker as well. And he's got this little mutt that I can't figure out what breed it is. It kind of looks like a loaf of bread with legs. It's just this square little dog, cute little thing, sort of short face. But here's what I love about this dog. Every time I see this guy, he is dragging this thing behind him. The dog is all the way back out at the end of the leash behind him, right? And he's sort of dragging it along. And the other day, as I was driving out in the morning and I saw them walking, the dog had laid down on the sidewalk with his paws up in the air, like, I'm not going any farther. And I laughed and I thought, that's my soul. That's me and my soul. That's me dragging my soul along at a pace it doesn't want to keep. And friends, just pay attention. Your soul will let you know how it's doing. Okay, so this is what I want to give you in our final session. I want to give you the idea of barometers, signposts, indicators, gauges to kind of tell how you're doing. You should have some in your life that when do you know you're not doing well? What are the barometers for that? I mentioned earlier that for me, it was discovering that when I was with my grandchildren, I was not present to them. I was distracted and couldn't engage. And frankly, I found it a little irritating how much time they wanted. It's terrible. Like, I love them and I want to be with them, but that was a good barometer for me. And I'd like to report that as a result of these practices, this summer, I've had some wonderful time with my grandchildren, and I didn't need to go anywhere. I felt more present. There was just more of me was back. I was like back and wholehearted and able to love and to engage. Okay, so what are your barometers? Let's start on the negative side here. Do people irritate you? Do you need caffeine and sugar to make it through the day? Are you more angry in traffic than usual? And how about this? Does the 1 minute pause irritate you? Honestly, I'm the guy that wrote this book, and there's some days that when my phone reminds me, I'd have a little reminder to do the pause a couple times a day. I'm so irritated by the intrusion. It's like, oh, barometer, you're not doing well. But most importantly, have you stopped doing those things that once brought you life and brought you more of God? Okay? And then on the positive side, we should have some positive barometers too. What are those things that if you're doing them in the simple dailies, okay, not kayaking off waterfalls, but in the simple dailies, you're doing well, okay? For me, was I able to pay attention to what Stacy was saying to me in the morning as we were, having our morning together before we both left into our day? Do I want to see my grandchildren? The positive barometers for me is my walk, my daily morning or evening walk, such a simple thing. Now, I love adventure and I love the fantastic, but I can't do those every day. The daily things, there's just some positive things. Do I have time for beauty? Have I made room for beauty in my life this week? Okay, so we're going to do a little exercise right now. Pull out something to write with if you can, if you've got your study guide. If not, just kind of do it in your head so you can write this down later. So first we're going to start with, for you, in your life, when do you know you're not doing well? What are the indicators for you? What are the barometers when you are cooked and fried and running on fumes, when you have just been pushed into the shallows? Okay, what's that for you? Okay, now let's go to the positive side. And for you, in the things that you love and the life that you love with God, what are the simple dailies, the simple weeklies for you that remind you, yep, I'm living well. If I'm maintaining this, I'm on course. I'm taking care of my soul, and I'm getting out of the madness. For you, just write down a few of those things. And they may be things that you used to do and you want to get back to. That's fine. Write them down so that you remember to get back to them. Here's the wonderful thing I love about barometers is that your soul will let you know. All right, the soul eventually will not cooperate. If the soul is neglected, if the soul is unattended, if you're not receiving union in life, if you're not getting some joy, your soul will let you know. Honestly, filming this series last night, I came home a little cooked. I was stressed. I was tired. There was a bunch of chaos in my personal life, and I just wanted relief. I didn't care about restoration. I just wanted relief. My soul's like, come on, let's just go watch some TV. So I did. I went downstairs. I knew what I was doing. I knew it wouldn't work, but I did it anyway. Went downstairs, tried to turn on some soccer, and it didn't work. It wasn't what my soul needed. It wasn't the nourishment for the moment. And so I turned it off, and Jesus said, just go outside. Just sit on the porch, 5 minutes. And so this is 9 p.m. Go outside, sit on the porch, and there's crickets, and there's the stars, and there's this beautiful, cool evening breeze coming down from the mountains. And it did not take long, to realize, yes, this is the God I love. This is who you are. This is who we are. I love saying that to him. This is who you are. This is who we are. This is what our life is. And I receive you again. I release everything to you. I pray for our union. So your soul will let you know. And you know what? If you look in the eyes of the people around you, their souls will let you know too how they're doing. Because we are way late in the war, friends. We are way late in the war. And most people are losing. It's a long, slow war of attrition. You can just see the light going out of their eyes. They're so harried and haggard. They're completely distracted by media and the web and the chaos, and they don't have any time to take care of themselves. They have never taken a moment to pay attention to their neglected soul. There's no beauty. There's beauty coming to them, but they're not receiving beauty into their life, and they don't have any idea how to find union with God. Humanity is in bad shape. And I think in this moment, we can be kind of like the desert fathers and mothers. We can be this countercultural presence that's offering another way, right? This presence of, wait, like, you do what? You turn your phone off when you get home? I tried texting you last night. You didn't answer me until 9 o'clock this morning. You go, yeah, I get off all that in the evening. Whoa, what do you do? And you can kind of describe your life. I think we can live a life where people see that what they are aching for is actually available. They'll see the light in your eyes. They'll see the restoration that you're experiencing. And it's all in the dailies, friends. So here as we're winding up, I just want to give you a couple of encouragements. The world that we're living in right now requires a life that is saturated with God. It requires a soul that is well and strong and resilient. And you know the double bind. This world is never going to invite you there. This world is going to fight that and try and take that from you constantly. So we've got to make some choices. What will you do to get your life back? What will you do to live a sane life? Doesn't have to be amazing. Doesn't have to be over the top. So here's my verse for you. I want to go to Paul the Apostle Paul for you in Philippians. Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing, and then the God of peace will be with you. Philippians 4:9. What I love about that verse is the kindness of it. Paul is saying, just keep giving it a try. Just keep putting into practice the things that you've seen and heard are helpful for the soul and bring you more of God. And then the God of peace will be with you. There's a graciousness to it. He's not saying, get it right, get it perfect. God is nowhere in the pressure to be amazing. This isn't about being amazing, okay? This is about the dailies. So the things we've talked about and the things that you'll discover in the study guide and so much more in the book, just put those things into practice in the dailies, and God will be with you. I hope that this has been helpful to you. And if it has been, I hope you'll invite a few more folks into it, because there's a lot of hurting souls out there that need this. And there's more, lots more. Kept referring to the book through the series. If you haven't read it, hope you do. It'll really refresh your soul. And there's a whole bunch at our website at ransomedheart.com. Conferences we do, retreats for restoring the soul, podcasts, and more videos like this that we do to help you get your soul back and help you be strong in this world. May the God of peace be with you.
Well, I very much appreciate what John has to say in this video and all the ones before. Again, I said it last week, but I really love the perspective that he brings to a conversation like this. And I love the challenge for us to be countercultural, like the Desert Fathers were, to do something that might seem strange to people, but ultimately might be for our best and for their best. John spent some time in the video talking about the barometers in our lives, and we're going to continue that thought here just for a minute or two. And what I want for us to understand is that barometers, this is something we need to be looking out for, something we need to be watching for and be attentive to. Otherwise, we might miss them. I've got a picture of a barometer I'd like for us to all see, just in case we don't know what it is. And what a barometer does, or its primary purpose, is to forecast the weather by detecting changes in environmental pressure. And so this picture, this image, is exactly right for us to think about what are the things in our lives that can forecast when there's a change, forecast when something might be different. These can be good or bad barometers, things that take us in either direction, and if we aren't careful, we won't even notice them as they're trying to alert us to something important. But when the barometers are alerting us to changes, we need to recommit to finding God in the simple daily things. And if you didn't take part in the exercise that John led you through, trying to write down good and bad barometers in your life, I'd encourage you to do that at some point soon, because if we don't notice them, we'll move right by them and not even pay attention. But for those of us, when the barometers are going off, to find the simple daily things of God. So how do we do that? How do we find God in the simple daily things? A couple ideas here that might help us. First, we need to cultivate a spirit of gratitude. When we talk about the simple and the daily, a spirit of gratitude, we might need to think to ourselves, why is it so easy to not be grateful? Why is it so easy to move on and not count any of our blessings? We're so richly blessed, but we don't even realize it, and we often don't say anything about it. Sometimes my kids, they might get upset if they don't get something they wanted. Maybe they wanted a toy, or maybe they wanted a snack or a treat. And if they don't get it right when they wanted, they might get upset about that, and they may even go as far as to say, well, that's not fair. And oftentimes I'll have a conversation with them, trying to remind them of the ways that they're blessed beyond anything they could understand. And they're kids, and so they get it a little bit, but not fully. But what's funny is, as I step off my high horse, I realize that I do the exact same thing with God. When I don't get what I want on my timetable, I would say it's not fair, or I might throw a fit. I might complain, I might get upset. But I'm not focusing on all the ways I'm so blessed. I convince myself it's different because my things might have to do with what I would consider more important, but it's not at all. I have so many blessings, the blessing of health, the blessing of a job, the blessing of family, the blessing of a home, the blessing of food. But still, I forget to have gratitude in the daily blessings of life. Psalms 118:24 says, the Lord has done it this very day. Let us rejoice and be glad. Let us rejoice and be glad because of what the Lord has done. No matter what else happens, we should rejoice in the Lord. Even if we actually had nothing to be thankful for. Like literally, if every single thing in our life was bad, we still have the Lord. And so rejoice and be glad in that. A spirit of gratitude. And when we aren't just grateful, but actually have a spirit that is geared towards gratitude, it will change our day. It will change our attitude and it will change our day. And what's funny is, if we do that 7 days in a row, we now have a changed week. And if we string a few changed weeks together, we now have a changed month. And if we put a few changed months together at the end of, we may look back and say, wow, this whole year has now been different. A very small, a very simple thing could change the course of our entire lives. If we start to notice and have a spirit of gratitude, giving thanks to God for all the big and the small things that he blesses us with, and at the end of the day, giving thanks to God for him and for Jesus Christ. So second, not only do we need to have a spirit of gratitude, but we need to put our devices down. Okay, this one is hard. Our devices are literally programmed to addict us to them. Did you know that? Did you know that the companies who produce our apps and the programs that go on our phone, they do so in a way that has been proven to be addictive? It makes us more depressed. It makes us less happy. Like, this is a real thing. Yet, we keep them glued to us. And I'm the worst one. I'll admit it. I'm the worst of all of us. The more I research this topic, the more I look into it, the more I become convinced that if we do not find ways to create distance, at least temporarily, from technology, it will eat us from the inside out. And by the way, simply hopping on to a new app or a new social media platform, that's not going to cure anything. The solution is to simplify, to unplug, to take time to reconnect with God, with people, and with nature. It's a simple daily thing that we can do that will have a huge impact. And then the third, we need to build in times to stop or slow. Isn't it funny how the Common Rule series that we did before this, and now this entire series with John Eldredge, it's like we're repeating the same principles, almost as if there's something to them. And if we say them enough times, and if we talk about them enough times, maybe they'll start to actually sink in and take hold in our hearts. Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." But before we recognize God being exalted, we need to be still. We need to know. There's a quote from Dallas Willard that says, "You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life." Ruthless. Be ruthless in the way that we eliminate hurry. This isn't something that we can passively hope will happen in our day, because it won't. Have you ever had a day where you thought, well, I hope at some point I'll have some time to do ... Do you ever have time to do that thing, or are you like me, and at the end of the day you realize that every hour and every minute has gotten filled with something else? We have to be proactive. We have to schedule. We have to make time, build it in, protect it. In the book, John writes a line where he talks about how good it is at times to be inefficient. Well, this goes counter to every impulse in my body. I want to do things as efficiently as possible to maximize every minute. But he talks about the joy in being inefficient. We need to stop, to slow, to be inefficient at times, and to remind ourselves that it's not going to happen by our power. Only God can do everything that needs to be done, and the work will still be there for us tomorrow. So how do we find ways to stop? Well, the Pause app. John has talked about it several times in these videos. I actually downloaded it, and I've been using it this week. I'm still on the 1-minute pauses. I haven't upgraded to the 3-minute pause yet. But it's easy, it's refreshing, it's helpful. It's a small thing that helps you to stop. How about you get lost somewhere? In the book, John mentions, I didn't know this. He said 1/3 of all roads in the United States are unpaved. Go get lost on a road somewhere. Just drive. Be with yourself. Think, pray, sing. Take time that doesn't have any purpose. You could sit on the porch with a good drink and put a reminder on your phone to stop and pray. You could walk the dog. Whatever you need to do that can be done daily, intentionally, and serve as one of the barometers for your soul. Something that you can look at and say, am I doing this or am I not? Am I making time or am I not? If we will practice these things, we'll find that while extraordinary and extravagant experiences are special, our life with God will be refilled and fulfilled through the simple daily things. So, a couple questions for us as we close out. First, what are some of the good and bad barometers in your life? Now, John asked this question, I've asked it, but I want you to either answer it or write it down. What are some of the good and bad things that you can look to see, has there been a change, a shift in the pressure of your life? Number two, what practical steps can you take to cultivate a spirit of gratitude? What can you do not just to say that I want to be thankful, say I want to be grateful, but what can you do to actually infuse that into your life, a spirit of gratitude? And then finally, where can you make time to slow or stop to refocus your day on God? And again, I want you to be specific. Where is a time? What is a place? How? When? Is it 9 a.m.? Is it 6 a.m.? Is it 10 p.m.? Find a time. Mark it off and protect it so that you can stop or slow and reconnect with God. It's been a wonderful series. I hope it's been powerful and effective for you. I'm going to pray as we close. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to think about all the different things that John Eldredge might have for us to say. And ultimately, God, much more important than that, thank you for the opportunity to think about what you would say to us, the words that you would speak directly to our hearts. God, we love you. We want to be obedient to you. We want to be more like Jesus. So please help these challenging but simple principles take root in our heart and grow into habits and practices and mindsets that will shape us more into the image of Jesus. God, we love you and we want to be more like you, so help us with that today. We pray all these things in your name. Amen.